Hi everyone, it's John here. Welcome to this week's edition of Friday Freebies. This week we're going to take a look at some of the report settings in XBOS, what we've got available, some of the features you might not be already using, some of them you might, and we're just going to recap on how they work. So the first one is going to be the reports dashboard. So the reports dashboard in XBOS is a virtual dashboard that you can turn off or on that appears on the reports screen when you first enter the reports tab over on the left-hand side. Gives you some useful figures that are really beneficial for the snapshot of the day, but also year to date so far. What is the dashboard? Where do you access it? How do you turn it on? And we'll look at a couple of the figures. So first of all, if you go to reports and the screen looks like mine, it means that you haven't got the dashboard on. And it's very simple to turn that on. You go to settings, advanced reports, and you have a little button here to tick yes or no. So I'm going to select yes. And the dashboard is now live. So if we go to my reports tab over on the left here, first of all, what you'll see is your today figures, year to date, and some account sort of movement and stock movement. Today figures, self-explanatory, what you've done for the day. If you've got 12 months worth or more of sales, you'll have like-for-like figures versus last year. So we can see sales, baskets, average basket value, and margin. And then we've got the same figures for year to date as well, which are really handy, really useful figures. And you've got a little bit of account movement if you have a loyalty scheme, point scheme, and also we've got our stock value with stock turn. Over on the right, these are the quick buttons to go to the cash in report, end of day, sales and product statistics. And then we've got a button that will take you to reports that we'll click on in a moment. Then just below those figures at the top, we have a top 10 group sales figure. Now, these will auto show in your system, but we will be able to show you where you can turn some of these off, and I'll explain that in a moment. And we've also got a net sales comparison again at monthly sales for this year, but you can also see the slightly sort of purple color behind. That was last year, so we can see how you're trading this year versus last year. So hopefully you guys will see that this is really beneficial, really handy. It is optional because some people might not like it on. Some people want it on because it's really useful. I mentioned that you can turn on categories, what we call subgroups or groups, to show on here or not. So I'll give you an example. If you own the Pro Shop and you don't really want green fees or buggies showing on here, or maybe memberships or course hire, what you can do is go into settings, products and groups. And then in groups, if we go into, say, the golf course, and we go on to green fees subgroup and press edit, there'll be a little button here to say show on dashboard or not. So I've said no, press save. I'm going to do this for all of my green fees. And I'm now actually going to do this for my buggies. As you can see, this is very, very quick. I'm actually going to do the same for driving range because this is under my golf course. So I'm just going to quickly go. Oh, they're already off, actually. Just quickly check some more of these. Yeah, happy with those. So if I go back to my dashboard now, we should see that this dashboard won't include in the bottom figures green fees and course hire and buggies. So we can see there that's correct. As you said, really what you can see here so far, it's really easy to navigate, turn it on, and how to make some tweaks so you get the information on here showing of what you want to show. Great, so that's the first one for you guys. Hopefully that's a nice simple one for you and that gives you some help. The next one is going to be our report saved filters. So this was something we introduced a little while back. So we're just going to go into my reports here. Currently, if you go into report, like the end of day report, the report will load a standard report. So this will be standardized set of figures. So it might be this particular report is the end of day so it's today's figures, and it's for all businesses. So all of the different companies. So what I mean by that is if you are linked to a golf course and you own the golf shop, but you ring figures through for the golf course like green fees and buggies, all of that will be displayed here because all of that money goes through your till. So you might take payments on behalf of the golf club and your business. It might be that the golf course want a report with just their figures on, and you want to separate it out and view just your figures occasionally because maybe your accountant wants those figures or you want to look a bit more in depth. So what you can do to save the filter, you can see at the top here, I've got a little save filter button. to set that filter, you can select what you want to view. So I'm just going to view John's Pro Shop and click view. So the report for today will only load the figures now for any products sold against the company John's Pro Shop, which we can see here. So we haven't got the two different companies showing anymore. So what we now do is go and say filter. And in here, we'll name the filter. So we'll call it Pro Shop. You can change these dates. So you could put start of the week, end of a week. Or we could bin them. If you wanted to do start to end of week or start of month, end of month, or in some reports, it might be year to date. You can take away the date and tap in, for example, here, start S, and it'll bring up all of these different options. These are all of the preset options you can choose. For example, you could do a sales analysis and run it from start of year to current day. That would be quite handy, so you can see how much money you've made from the beginning of the year up to now. Or you just want a monthly report for maybe your lessons or higher products, you could set that, and that would also run. I'm actually, for this report, I'm just going to bin my dates here. So I'm just going to save the rest of the filters. The report is now going to load and save what I've done. Perfect. I'm just actually going to now do the same for the golf club, because I want two sets of filters here. So I'm just going to load the figures for today just for my golf course. We can see Mill Lane, that's my golf course. Save, and I'm going to call this golf course. Again, I'm just going to bin the dates for my ones here. The reason I'm binning the dates is because I don't want to necessarily save any particular dates on mine. I'm just going to go in and choose the dates when I load the report set. And we're just going to close that report. Okay, so how does the saved filters work? So if we go back into that report, whereas before it would have automatically loaded the current day, we should now see a set of different options, which we do. Perfect. Default will load what I had before. That's just the report that would load the current day with everything on, and that is the same for every report. You'll see an XPOS. But we do have the option now, do we want to view the golf course or Pro Shop? So if I only want to view the Pro Shop, I will click on Pro Shop. And hopefully, as long as I've done this correctly, we should see my figures with just the Pro Shop in here. Perfect, you can see that. And then obviously I could change my dates and press view if I wanted to run this weekly or monthly. And the same for the golf course. Another one for you then from there is this would also be very handy if you had, say, maybe 2 or 3 terminals, more than one terminal in your Pro Shop. One person works on terminal 1 to cash up at the end of the day, but also you want to cash up terminal 2 at the end of the day as well. Normally you would have to come in here and maybe say, let me just set these back again a sec. So we're cashing up for everything. View that, save, call this terminal 1, repeat it and do the same for terminal 2. And then when you're cashing up, whoever's working on terminal 1 can select terminal 1. Whoever's selecting terminal 2 can cashing up on terminal 2 can select terminal 2. Okay, so we're just going to leave that a moment. What I'm actually going to show you now is maybe a different report. So we're going to go into the product statistics report. This report, as you may have seen, has got defaults next to some of these prefixed headings. So we wanted to give some kind of popular reports. So give you a starting point of what is popular. You can see here that I've added a month to date report for this one. So that will typically load. You can see here by brand, subgroup and product. Click on month to date. This report now will load hopefully the 1st of July to the 9th of July, which we can see here. The idea is all I did there was set some dates and set any filters I wanted, click save, and then set month to date. Where this also could be quite useful is if we go into the first report here of product statistics and click on the group by brand and product, maybe again, like the first end of day report where I set it for golf course and shop, maybe the golf course say, we want a monthly report and we want that monthly report to show all of the products you sell on behalf of us. So this is like a golf course report, or maybe they just want a green fee report or a buggy report. To do that, I'm going to go to June here and set my month of June. There's a couple of options. If you want to do everything for the golf course, you could just select company for the golf course. here we can see the golf course. In this report, obviously the different products sold. We've got buggies and green fees sold against the golf course. So what you can do from there is you could save this report and you could call this golf course. You could get rid of the dates or do whatever you like within here. I'm just going to press save. Perfect. I'm going to do one more filter. Maybe you just want green fees or buggies. So I'm just going to do a green fee one this time. You could either go in and select a golf course. I'm going to go and make this really bespoke now and just come in and say green fees. You know what? Let's get a little bit more data. Go from the start of the year to the current day. Just to... There we go. So I've just got my green fees now here. So I'm going to do a saved filter for green fees. Okay, so we've got our green fee report saved now. What you'll notice is if you don't want to maybe go out of a report and select a different filter, you can actually select, now you've saved some reports, all of the different reports you've saved are available within this filter tab here. So you don't have to necessarily go completely out of the report to select one of the filters that you've created. Okay, but if we go and close this, just to show you, if we go back into the report, you'll now see the different filters, golf course, green fees that I've added earlier. From what you can see, will apply to any report in the system. I would say the end of day reports, that product statistics, and there are going to be a couple of other reports that are going to be very useful for this. Maybe you've got some of the reports for your customer balances, but really around the sales report is where this is great. So that's everything today for me, guys. So we've looked at the reports dashboard and the save filters. Hope that that you guys will see a real use in both of those. And any questions, please just pop me an email at john.williams@xpos.co.uk and we'll speak again soon.